listening to Augustine, Zishi's mention about nuclear plants. If the PPP can't even manage a simple subway track with very high records of breakdown, well, it's okay, you know. We just inconvenience for 1 day, half a day, but a nuclear plant, can you have any fault? It's a terrible thought, right? Now, good evening, voters of Choa Chu Kang. First of all, let me thank all my colleagues, all my party workers who has dedicated their time and effort to make this election possible. We are only 2 months old. No matter how much experience I have in running the show and all that, without their ardent support, this would not be possible. This would not be possible to challenge Minister Khan and his team in Choa Chu Kang. Thank you very much, everyone. I can't see my speech, right? Do away with it. Let me start with what I think went wrong with PAP over the years. I'm an economics student, and honor students who have a privilege to study at NUS and study all the policy options before they were implemented in Singapore. Be it COE, ERP, GST. Yes, we have studied the rationale behind all these policies before they were implemented in the 1990s, during Goh Chok Tong times. Right? It started off very good when you look at the theories. When you really look at the theories of all these policies made, because these are actually thought of by economists themselves. They are rational behind all this, even a progressive wage system. They are rational behind certain policy options. But PAP twisted all the policies towards money making. That is the problem. Let's take a look at ERP. We started off in the 80s. If you are old enough, you should know we have a CBD, right? You pay $2 with a sticker, then you go in, right? The rationale is very simple. CBD is an important place where the financial services and economic activities, which is vital to our economy. And it should control the traffic so that people don't get jammed up. When people get jammed up, you actually have an economic loss by doing so. So you have to control the traffic not to have a jam inside the CBD area. So the CBD coupons were replaced by ERP. Fine. In view of efficiency and effectiveness. But later on you'll find that it starts to have PIE have ERP, CTE have ERP, KPE have ERP, TPE I don't know when they are going to have ERP. That is how the PAP used a very good tool, rational tool, to expand it without proper rationale. Why would you want to put ERP, AYE everywhere to have ERPs all over the place? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And now they are talking about using satellite to charge every miles that you play, you use your car. It is perversive. To me, it has come to a mental state of sickness to have such a leaders to always think of how to milk the system from his people. That is terrible, don't you think so? For every policy options that we make, there must be a strong rationale. But we do not want the PAP to abuse it. No. They have the power. They can coerce you to do something. Let's take a look at the MediShield Life. It looks very grand, very good. And they say for the first 4 years, they will subsidize you with the premium, right? What they did not tell you is that for the MediShield or any healthcare policies for the public, for the citizens, there are three kinds of people who should be responsible for your healthcare: the government, your employer, and yourself. But now you are made to pay all the premiums by yourself. What is the role of the government and your employer? Nothing. That is something unacceptable by international standard. When such a comprehensive healthcare insurance was implemented, the role of the government must be there. It must co-pay. The employer must co-pay along with yourself, because you must be responsible for your health yourself. But this was not implemented in the current government setting. So only people who really study economics, really study policy options, will know the options and what were left out and what having been abused by this government. I used to take Dr. Goh Meng Seng as my idol, not Lee Kuan Yew. In spite of the fact that PAP under Lee Kuan Yew was quite ruthless, and under his rule, he have destroyed 2 generations or 3 generations of people from the cultural setting during the White Terror era in the 1970s. That's why we are still a cultural desert right now. We never recover from that era. Despite the fact that he has locked up a lot of people who are not really a threat, but just say something nasty about his government. And I don't like dictators. That's why I do not like him. But I have to respect him. They keep his team clean. But I like Dr. Goh Meng Seng because he's sincere. Remember last February I was talking about 4 basic principles, basic character of our politicians that we like. People who are sincere and a heart for the people, with the passion, with the fire, and the intellect. Dr. Goh Meng Seng have all of them. He created policies for industrialization. He created the army to protect ourselves. He created the HDB, the land acquisition and the redistribution of land through the land reform, so that we have cheap, not me, I think my father's generation have cheap housing. But PAP again, after the young generation of leaders that took over, twisted the policies. Public housing becomes a $500,000 business. Do you know that? Some BTO costs $500,000 right now. Yeah. Topayo, Amokyo. The BTOs are extremely expensive. And why should that be so? We have a social contract with PAP in the past. People have given up their land at cheap cost, very cheap cost, to the government, to the PAP government, to redistribute it for the benefits of everybody. And not only that generation, we have a 99-year lease because we think further. Our future generation should have land and housing as a basic need. But PAP has screwed it up. They are only thinking of putting money into the reserve through the land sales. The reason why the younger generations and the future generations are going to pay high price for the public housing is because they increase the land sales. And the land sales itself, unlike other countries or even Hong Kong, doesn't go into the budget. It goes straight into the reserve. And what does that mean? Temasek Holdings and GICs invest this reserve. That is the truth. They manage this reserve. But to me, they're gambling with this reserve. Imprudent investment decision, high risk. Maybe some of you are too young to remember. The first major investment loss for Temasek Holdings is actually Micropolis, 500 million, $500 million in one company. That is in the 1990s. Then we have an ABC, another $500 million, $500 million in Australia. ABC is actually supposedly a kindergarten, change of kindergarten in Australia. Another $500 million. And I do not know how many millions they have lost in Tat Singh's company. It's imprudent. But we are kept in the dark. And you will think carefully about that. When they raise the land cost of your HDB, they are actually squeezing your CPF money out into the land sales revenue. And it get into the reserve and into the GICs and Temasek Holdings. That is a scheme that is going on. So why am I so angry? You know, I chose a fire for a logo for a reason. You know, in the Cantonese in the Chinese is 一把火. I have this anger in me. It is not irrational anger. It's an anger that I will look into the eyes of my fellow Singaporeans. When I walk down, people come to me and tell me their stories and how some of our Singaporeans have to live So my fellow Singaporeans here, I shall quote one little quote from Mandela. My colleague have said that your vote is secret and you should not vote in fear. Mandela says, your choice should reflect your hope and not your fear. PAP likes to use fear. Just yesterday, the Prime Minister says, oh, we are facing terrorism, we are facing economic crisis, we are facing unfriendly neighbors. That's why we must vote for a strong government. That's playing on your fear. You should not fall for that. Your power in your vote should vote for your hope. The hope for change and try to change this government mindset. It must do the right thing for the people and not for GIC or Temasek Holdings. With this, I shall end my first part of my speech. Thank you. It's a miracle 啊，真是一个奇迹。它的灯开了，所以我可以读。重见光明啊！对了。闪电堂啊！在这一次竞选的时候， 我一开始就跟媒体讲，我很希望跟严金勇先生来一场辩论，政策的辩论，因为我相信第一世界的政治应该有第一世界的做法，而不是乱骂人，也不是乱抹黑人，而是要讲国家大事。但是很遗憾的，无论我怎么挑战他，甚至在上一次的群众大会里面，向他提出了很多的问题，他都回避了我的问题，完全不出声。他的团队里面的议员也没有针对他们各自选区的问题做回复，这是什么态度？他们必须知道，回应不回应我其实是不重要，而他们是欠缺了对你们选民的一个交代，而不是因为我。所以以这种态度来竞选，我是非常的失望。难道执政了50年的 PPP 就是这么高傲吗？In the beginning of this contest, I have already put a challenge towards Mr. Gan Yin Yong for policy debate. This is because I believe in the first world country politics, you have to talk about policies that affect the whole country, the whole people. But I'm utterly disappointed. He has declined and even refused to answer the question I raised in last rally. He and his team has refused to answer some of the local issues that were raised as well. Whether they replied to me or not, it doesn't really matter. But it actually shows disrespect to the voters here. They owe you an explanation. Are they so arrogant after 50 years of rule? I will let you decide on polling day. Now the Prime Minister has used the same old tactic of fear, the boogeyman fear, terrorism, economic crisis coming, unfriendly Indonesia, right? But the irony is this. He says that our survival depends on the relationship, the good relationship that we have with Malaysia and Indonesia. But in the same speech, he go and chocho both of them. He says that, oh, Malaysia will affect us, and Indonesia look us down. What type of diplomatic ties is he trying to make with them? After Lim Swee Say who says, hang then what? Yeah, we are very sway to have such leaders, you know. Do not use external threat as a means to win votes. External threats will always be there, I can tell you, in this globalized world. And you do not use that and affect our diplomatic ties with our neighbors. In the past, each and every election, without fear, they will use Malaysia or Indonesia as the boogeyman. And I feel very tired of it. Please stop it. Now, Goh Meng Seng has said that, oh, he's proud to have a 2-room flat at 30,000, which is cheaper than the COE, 50,000. Do you see the irony? PAP set up this COE, started with $2 per COE. Right? And now it can fluctuate to 50,000. Is it working? Because the COE went up in such a way because of manipulations of the government system, the bidding system, as well as the car dealers. That is the truth. And a car is no longer a luxury to a lot of people. My colleague have actually mentioned about a motorcycle. I think Fazal mentioned a motorcycle COE, which costs about 7,000 now. Actually, a resident happens to come to me and says that a motorbike costs less than 3,000, and you have to pay 7,000 for COE. Does it make sense? And motorbikes are supposed to be the cheapest transport mode for the low-income peasant who needs the transport to make a living. And imagine the COE only lasts for 10 years. Huh? It means that if you are comparing to the flat, 99 years lease, 100 years lease, you times 10, it's actually 70,000 for 100 years. A piece of paper is more expensive than a flat for a motorcycle. That is absurd. And people don't feel the pinch because you are using your mortgage to pay for it. That's why you don't feel the pinch. But if you calculate possibly good, every 10 years you are going to change COE, right? And every 10 years you are going to pay 50,000, let's say. If you live for 100 years, you are going to pay 500,000 for that piece of paper. That's as good as a 4-room flat or 5-room flat, BTO. It has come to an absurdity, a situation of absurdity, that a piece of paper can cost that much. And I know a lot of people are doing sales that need the car for the reason you know best. MRT can break down anytime. And our public transport system is not that efficient like Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, I can live without a car. I can travel anywhere I like without a car, seriously. Because of the way they designed the city is surrounding the MRT station, MTR station they call. But our design is, they build an MRT station, then surrounding it, they don't build anything first. They build far away all the HDB flats. When the land price go up, then they start to build condos. It doesn't make sense. In low density some more. That is why we feel it's very inconvenient for us not to have car if we are doing sales. Or everything is linked. 就讲到这个 COE 的问题，对 COE 不只是对那些有钱人有影响力的，对中下级的那些靠车吃饭的人是很重要的。所以不要以为只有有钱人才会受影响，这是不是，其实是不错的观念。所以 COE 可以从2块钱、8块钱、88块钱到5万块，这是什么道理？它整个制度是有问题的。I suggest to have a bid as you pay system. That means whatever you bid is what you are prepared to pay, instead of the present system. That will prevent manipulations by the car dealers. That is the only way you should do it. And I have raised this way back in 1991, even before the COE is being implemented as a student. Now, 我时间不多了哈。有人，我昨天到 到南洋那边走一趟，有人说哦，他唱一首歌给我听，也是我有100万，有没有听过？啊，台湾歌，哎，然后他就跟我讲，在新加坡100万都不够了，100万我们能买什么？买 condo 又不够了，对吗？你买了 condo 又不能买车，下水了，对不对？所以说，他说其实100万在新加坡已经是不够了，因为物价涨得太快。哦，你不可以买大房子，当然 condo 是最简单的。We have first world cost of living, but third world standard of living. That's the truth in Singapore. We can boast to everyone in the world that we have high GDP per capita, right? But in fact, do you feel really rich in Singapore? You don't. Why? Because whenever you earn, you have a high cost of living. Let me show you one example. I was in Nanyang again. One guy bought some fish, right? And some meat, pork. And I happened to have someone from Thailand sitting beside us. Then she asked, how much is the fish? How much is the pork? It turns out that our prices is 4 times than Thailand. And we are actually laughing at Thailand having a low GDP per capita. That's stupid. Right? Because the cost of living and your salary must be in tandem in order to feel rich. 我们很多人都是月光一族啊，你懂什么叫月光一族吗？月底就口袋光光了，不是脱光光，不要乱脱。月底就口袋光光了。We spend every cent. By the time we reach the pay time, right? And it's true, you know. Sometimes when I'm queuing up in the POSB ATM, I saw some receipts. Inside, $20 left, $50 left. And that is not unique to only a few people. A lot of people are like that. PPP have also created a problem for our national identity. Do they really take care of our people? They thumb us down. They want to justify why they bring in foreign laborers. They say we are lazy. Are we lazy? No. I have people who come to me and say that they are middle lower income group. They say that they have to fight for overtime with the foreign workers. Fight for overtime. Are they lazy when they try to fight for overtime? But they normally can't get the overtime. It was given to the foreign labor because they are cheaper. We are not lazy, but we just cannot bear to have low salary due to high cost of living. That is the truth. So, in which country do we have a government which thumb us down to say foreigners are talent while we are stupid and we are lazy? I don't know. Have you heard any government that say that to their own country people? They have made us lose self-esteem. They have made us lose self-confidence. And they have made a lot of PMAPs lost hope. And Lim Swee Say can say that we want to get our PMAP solve the PMAP problem. I tell him bullshit. Why bullshit? If he was in the NTUC, the labor union, he cannot do anything. Do you think that he can do anything when he's a minister of manpower? Will he do anything? No. I put up a plan to say that he should have a PMAP recovery plan. Because PMAPs who drive taxi is underemployment. It's a waste of social resources. We have spent a lot of money to educate them, to give them good education, to get a degree, and they end up as a taxi driver. It is a cost to our whole country. A recovery plan means that not only we give them jobs, we must give them the confidence to get back into the PMAP jobs. Are they doing it? No, there is no plan of it. I can only stand on a stage every 4 years to speak with you and get ignored by the PAP ministers. No matter what I do, what I say, doesn't matter if we are not in Parliament. I need your empowerment through your votes to get my team and I myself into Parliament. You have seen how Jeanette talks about CPF, and it's true. I have no trust in the CPF system anymore. And that's the truth. You have to get us into Parliament. If you are not from this CCK, please vote for other opposition parties. We need as many as MPs, opposition MPs in Parliament to get PAP to sit up. We look in their eyes and make them answer our questions. We need a balance of power. And we should no more look down on our own people. They should not look down on you and me. And we shall reclaim our national pride.